Hey everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. Today is a glorious day, really, for battle fans. There's a new Shuffle T and Marlo battle out, and it's actually a fantastic battle. Like, you know, it's the one we've all been waiting for. It's the smash ultimate of battles, if you want to get into that Switch culture. But yeah, it was an awesome clash, and today we are going to look back on the battle and basically, you know, tell you why you should stream this. You know, you should get this from Don't Let the Label Label You. It was a really great battle. It's £4. It's a bargain as well. So support your local Battle Rap League or international or whatever. So we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the other battles on the card that mostly would be intelligible to us. But, you know, still it would be interesting to hear who these people are, what their stories are. And, of course, we're going to discuss, catch up with the guest. I had this guy on the show quite a while ago. I think it was like episode 50 odd or 60 odd. And, you know, now we're on 130. I think it was like February last year or something like that. So long time ago. Great to welcome him back. JollyJay, how's it going, man?
Hey, man. Good to be back. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me and for pushing this battle a little bit, because I think it's gone under the rug a little bit, considering the names in the battle. Yeah. Just because there's so many good battles coming out at the moment. So it's good to get the international scene aware of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, this has been one I've been looking forward to for as long as it was announced. It was originally cancelled, right? I mean, it's mentioned in the battle as being Nils' back issues. Was that what it was?
No, actually. No, that was actually, apparently, I didn't know about that. He apparently nearly cancelled the second one. But the first one was because of Henry Bauer's personal issues. It was like family stress. I wouldn't want to go into too deeply. But yeah, like a very legit reason, but quite late, quite last minute. We were just about to book the flights when we got the news. So I think at least, well, I actually asked him in the interview after the battle. That's not online yet. But I asked them how much of the material was from May. And Shufflo in particular said that they didn't change anything in the first two rounds. And then they just reconstructed the third round completely.
Wow. Wow, yeah. And, you know, these two guys, like Shufflo, really were sort of, I don't want to say running out of opponents, but they were just, you know, the giant fish in the 2-on-2 world. Like, Saurus Ilmac wasn't going to happen for budgetary reasons, and, you know, K-Shine and DNA kind of should have happened really 3 years ago for it to be the white-hot clash that it was. So, you know, looking overseas, they battled, like, you know, quite a few overseas opponents themselves, but this teaming of Nils and Bowers is so inspired, so fitting. I mean, if you're into this sort of battle rap, this sort of lineage, you know, it's a real feast.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a flash to the past as well, isn't it? Because, I mean, Henry hasn't battled in English for 5 years or so. Nils hasn't battled in English for a good few years as well. I think his last English battle was actually at our league, which is about 3 years ago. And Shufflo, we've been waiting for them to come back. And yeah, especially Nils and Henry gives me a bit of a nostalgic feeling, because I don't know, back in the days when I kind of started and had my battles and the whole blood and the water days, they were really popping already in popular figures. So it's cool to have them here. And also, it's funny because I actually always thought they were really good friends and really close. And we actually, you know, kind of put them in one room and everything, and, you know, thought they're best buddies, just like Buffalo are. But it turns out that they only really know each other through battle rap, and only met each other about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I mean, that comes up in the battle quite a few times, like.
Yeah, and that's such a big challenge for them, you know, to not only speak in a different language, you know, they're Swedish and Norwegian respectively, so they speak a different language amongst each other too, live in different countries, and then to pair up and, you know, battle the best team in the world. It's a teamwork, you know, between Marlo and Shuffle is, you know, you can't match it. So that was quite a big challenge for them, and I think they did pretty well.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, spoilers, I think Shufflo won. I think the consensus is that they won this, right?
I mean, it's unjudged, so thank God. It's the only battle on the night that was unjudged. I
mean, they certainly go longer, and I think if you're a Shufflo fan, it's really the apotheosis of their technique. Like, it's so far-reaching, everything they do in this battle. It's a real exhibition.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and also the crowd did definitely reacted more for Shufflo stuff.
Yeah,
I think they worked really well around the language barrier. I mean, they didn't, you know, try to alter their style too much or dumb it down or anything. And, you know, the English people, there are enough people in the crowd who did understand English, but at the same time, for some people whose English isn't perfect, their acting and their delivery and their teamwork is enough to get a reaction out of you, you know.
Yeah.
So it really went down really well. And actually, I thought on video it went down better than live because it was our biggest event so far. Such a big crowd. So a lot of their subtleness, which is so great about them, didn't really come across for some people in the crowd. We had a pit as well, so a lot of people saw the back of their heads and stuff.
Yeah.
And on video, a lot of the subtle acting and stuff comes out, which makes their battle so great.
And let's talk about the crowd, which is absolutely magnificent on this. In terms of battle rap crowds this year, it's on page with any, Summer Madness 8 or Gnome or whatever. There's so many fucking people. There's stacked to the rafters, multiple levels of Germans enjoying battle rap. It's a sight to behold. Like, how did you get it so popular over there?
Yeah, it's mad, really, to think about it. And over here, the consensus is that battle rap's much bigger in England, and we want to achieve what England's achieved. But yeah, I guess it's just the moment is quite a bleak situation with Don't Flop and everything. So that there's a lot of small leagues, which maybe that kind of makes the event smaller. I don't really know. I don't really know why the crowds are so small in England all of a sudden, because the scene in England is much more established than it is here. It's only the last 2 or 3 years that it's really gotten popping here. I mean, we started written battle rap in that sense. There was lots of other battle rap in Germany, other good leagues and big followings, but the real style of KOTD and URL and Don't Flop, that a cappella written style, is something we really established only 5 years ago with our league.
And obviously we don't really know any of the other battlers on the card. No offense to Onkel Octomush, is that right?
Yeah, Onkel Octomush and Die Zwetschge.
Yeah,
they're like the German version of a Marlo Shuffle T in a way.
Okay, cool.
One name on there that some people might know from Don't Flop and stuff is Brian Damage.
Yeah,
he battled Tongue Twister, and he battled someone else in English.
And you battled him recently, right?
I battled him in a bilingual battle as well. And him and Bong Tegi, he wasn't on the card, but he was there. I introduced them to Shufflo because they actually had a bad bars battle in German where they actually very heavily influenced by the Shufflo battle, clearly, and they even translated some lines directly into German, which made no sense, like the cheese grater line, the grater flip.
Yeah.
That wordplay makes zero sense. So they translated it for a German bad bars battle, and obviously no one really got it apart from a few people who knew the English version. So that was quite funny to just introduce them to Shufflo, because both battles have gone quite viral. That's our most viewed battle in Germany as well.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, you can pick this up. I'll put the link in the description. All of these battles retailing around $22. You can pick the Shufflo Clash up for £4. As I say, it's completely worth it. It's almost 40 minutes. And let's get into the battle. We obviously don't really want to sort of give anything away, I suppose, but just sort of recapping, just sort of looking back. I mean, for me, I think early on, Shufflo had some incendiary material. There were 2 parts in the battle, actually. The end of the first, when they're trying to think of what to say in Germany to a German audience and playing to the audience in that way, which again is sort of like cliche, like they're going to go in that Nazi direction, whatever, but still the way they pull it off is absolutely hilarious. And then also in the second, when they're talking about Nils' daughter, and Shufflo is just basically going on. Again, I don't really want to give it away, but yeah, there's some really, really classic stuff here, but also lots of experimental stuff as well. There's long sections on the origin of meatballs.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually happen to have seen that newspaper article about the meatballs actually coming from Turkey. I mean, that's quite a funny thing. Yeah, so they didn't necessarily go hardcore and deep. I think towards the last round they got a bit more serious in terms of the angles, but they did their typical Shufflo thing where they just take some odd angle and make it hilarious and use it as a good way to attack the opponent, even if the actual angle itself isn't that hard hitting,
Yeah. And it was obviously this sort of stuff would have, I mean, no offense, I just think it would have popped more on a Don't Flop stage. Certain reactions are muted, and that's not the fault of the crowd, and the crowd certainly aren't dead. They're very attentive and they're very patient, especially with Nils, who obviously love Nils, had Nils on the show, an incredible battler. I feel like some of his stuff here, I don't know how incisive it was. I don't know. I think they sort of snuffed it out, Shufflo, with their spark.
Yeah, I also think because he was here, like I said, 3 years ago, Nils, and it went down really well. He really controlled the room. But I do think something about his style, his laid back, slow style, works much better in a room of like 300 people without a stage and a mic. The acoustics weren't ideal at the event, not at all. Like they never are with the clip-on mic. I've never been to a battle event on a stage or with clip-on mics where the sound's been ideal. And it was considering that it was okay, but then having that mixed with 4 clip-on mics on that stage, and then all rapping at a different volume, and us wanting the volume of the speakers to be so quiet so that it wouldn't pick up too much of the echo in the pay-per-view. All those things coming into consideration made it really, really difficult. If you also take into consideration that the crowd didn't speak their language, natively,
of course,
it was really hard for them to get a great reaction. And I was actually really worried that the crowd would be dead. It was also halfway through the event, it's the part where the crowd starts to get a little bit tired and anxious to see the main matches, which, believe it or not, were not that
right.
Yeah. For the German crowd, then that was probably the least interesting match.
Okay.
Match. Beforehand, obviously we wanted to show them, and they loved it, but it was, for us, it was a very, very big German event, like just main matches, a German Summer Madness or something.
So the Henry and Nils, not to say that they weren't fantastic in the battle, and it's great to see Henry with the beard mic, and I do fucking love Henry. Definitely want to get him on the show soon. Ren and Stimpy versus Rain Man and Merlin is how it's cast. And I like how they clown on the league as well, the impossible acronym of "Don't let the label you." Haven't seen that long a letter combination since Nils' psych evaluation. I don't quite know if I get that bar. Is that just saying like it's an absurdist figure, or?
So yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's just a long line. I like that bit where they, considering they kind of knew that Shuffler would go in on them not being a great team and not having the greatest teamwork. They would start around with just dissing each other. That was pretty good.
yeah, they went at each other definitely. Throughout, and some great stuff as well. Like I said, the Shufflo, the stuff on the Nils' daughter, basically, I think is really, really funny. Into the Swedish meatballs, into a whole Volvo obsession. That's kind of like a thread that goes through the round as well. Really like that. The guys are just so comfortable and confident. Even I don't want to say hostile, but just foreign soil, really, not home turf. But for Shuffler, that seems to be pretty much anywhere. And Nils has the flips. He corrects them on the kid stuff and the marriage, and a lot of Nils' flips kind of make you go, I don't know. They were kind of reveal an evident truth, but don't necessarily go for the neck. You get some Brexit bars as well. Bitch slap you back to Britain. How's that for a hard Brexit?
Yeah, the Brexit bars you can expect those against Brits in Europe.
I'm going to make a compilation of those in like 2 years. There's going to be so many. Yeah.
What I liked about Shuffler as well is that they actually started every round, if I can remember right, with a little bit of a freestyle. And one of their freestyles, the one about the beard mic, they actually managed to do a 2-bar pass with the same rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
Something about his, you can wear the mic like Britney Spears. He had it hidden in his beard and stuff, and they just switched it. And they, they only saw that the mic was in his beard just a second before we actually had to clip it onto his beard. We were thinking about how to best place the mic. And it was definitely a very good Shuffler performance, and really interesting to see 2 really good battle rappers work together with Henry and Nils. But I think the circumstances didn't do them any favours. Yeah.
No, and there was still some terrific stuff, again, I want to stress, from both of them, especially in the third. I really like Nils' flip, the reality check for you, everything's actually made in Turkey.
Yeah.
Which just completely undermines it. I love that. Yeah. And
Nils is great at freestyle. Yeah. That's his biggest strength.
That's his, yeah. I remember Nils saying on the Battle Art Osmo episode that one of the main things he does is go to like conferences and just sort of like freestyle the end of the day to the people who, like, to me as a Brit, that's so foreign. I can't imagine that happening, but it's so cool.
Yeah, he's a professional freestyler. How many people can say that? That's actually his job. Him and another dude and a beatboxer, they go on tour and all they do is freestyle. Like, as in they put on a theatrical show where the crowd can, as far as I understand, like decide what the topic is and what they're supposed to talk about, and then they'll just freestyle the whole thing. It's mad.
Yeah, that was yeah, it really is tremendous. This whole battle, I should say. Nils with hair as well, which is interesting to see. And Henry has some great Henryisms, more tense than an orc getting chased by Viggo Mortensen. And they both deliver that really nicely. And there's a few things that both guys sort of trip on, but there's no chokes or anything like that. There's just sort of difficult material, and they perform it expertly. So yeah, this is the Shuffalo Clash versus Henry and Nils. Go and support. Don't let the label you. Subscribe anyway. Check out the other battles. Check out Onkel Octomush. Check him out. Maybe you'll be next. Do you do any subtitled stuff, Jay? Or?
Oh no, not yet. No. Usually it's the other way around. Like when we have an international battle like this one, there'll be lots of Germans saying, please subtitle it. But it's so difficult to subtitle a battle and make it sound good, you know what I mean? Because the syllables are all off and it doesn't rhyme and shit. So
yeah. I mean, I'm just seeing your battle with Brian Damage. It's an hour long.
Yeah, that's because the interview's part of it as well.
Oh, I see.
Probably about a good 20 minutes of that.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, it's long. It was long. There was like 4 or 5 minute rounds, yeah.
Okay. And almost got 100K.
Yeah, it's definitely that was it was a good battle because we know each other really well. We've been friends for a long time, and we had a lot to say to each other. So it was one that a lot of people anticipated, and it's definitely my favorite battle I've been involved in by far.
And you're still battling, then you're still active, you're still at the top of your game. So we're going to see you in the UK anytime soon?
I'd love to at some point. Yeah. Thing is that I've never battled anywhere else apart from Don't Flop.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to battle anywhere else, but it's just that's the way I knew it. Like if I wanted to battle in England, I went, and it all worked out. And since it's all gone down the drain a little bit,
I could see like Code Red chalked out. Like I could see you on these leagues.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be up for it. Like if someone, if there's a cool opponent and it works in, then why not? I haven't got as much time as I used to, but I'm always up for a battle. And to be honest, I'd love to have an English battle on English soil again, because it's obviously a whole different writing process. You write for the crowd a little bit, and the German battles I do in English. That's why I chose to do them both bilingual. I didn't want to do pure English battles because it's like you always have to. Like there's a lot of good things that I wanted to write that I had to get rid of just because I knew the German crowd wouldn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yes, a Grime Rap critic saying in the chat, are you coming over for World Dom 8, or would you?
To like as into like spectate, of course. I'd like.
No,
to
I mean to battle. I'm
look for it. I haven't gotten asked for it. Of course, that'd be sick. That'd be a sick thing to battle at. Yeah. What's the date for that?
It's like mid-Jan, I think. Mid to late Jan, but fairly soon, in about a month or so from the time of us record. Is there anyone you'd like to battle in the UK, especially, or?
Not particularly at the moment, but I'd be up for anyone who's like a semi good name. I felt like weirdly all the bigger opponents I had were at the beginning of my battles, and then later in England I got opponents that were less interesting, at least. Then when I got hit, like my last English battle here was against Yunnan. That was a great opponent, something like that. Just someone who I've known for a while that I can write about. There's a lot of new faces popping up that are great. I'm not saying they're not interesting opponents, but it's hard for me to really structure 3 rounds about someone I don't really know, and I haven't followed the scene as intently as I did a few years ago. So it'd be someone who's been around, for a while. Anyone I'd love to battle. Not necessarily one of the hot new dudes that I haven't really checked out.
Yunnan?
I battled Yunnan, here in Berlin.
Oh, you did? Sorry. Excuse me. What an insult to the league. I apologise.
No. That's like a perfect type of opponent. Exactly what I mean. Yunnan and me have been at Don't Flop for 9 years. It's a lot to say,
I mean, you versus Eek has some terrific flips from you in that battle.
Thanks, man.
I mean, really plays into that sort of historical element, as you can imagine, between a Russian and a German. But it is a really good battle. It was back when, like, I don't know, Don't Flop Battle had this really just high average level of quality. Like, they were really watchable. These guys really went for it. And, it was a great battle. But as I say, we did do the battle resume before, so definitely go check that out. We went through all the big battles. What about yourself, man? Is there anything you'd like to promote, your social media?
No, at the moment I'm really happy with if people just check out our channel and the whole thing grows a bit, and people realize that we can host good English battles here in Berlin as well, and they're not wasted. I want to kind of merge the scenes a bit more. I think the German scene can learn a lot from the English and American scene just because it's been around longer there. So it's good for us if, you know, German people watch English battles and get into it more, and that's what we're trying to do. So, yeah, be aware of Don't Let the Label Label You, buy the pay-per-view, and support English people coming out here.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the link will be down below. You know, go support the whole card, but obviously definitely pick up the Shuffalo versus Henry Bowers and Nils battle. Really, really terrific battle. Go support the league. Go watch JollyJay versus Yunnan, because I forgot it, so give it an extra view because it is, I'm sure, a great battle. I have to check that out. Check out all of JollyJay's other battles where you can support the show on Patreon and on iTunes. Subscribe to us, leave us a comment down below. We've got lots of cool stuff coming out on the channel soon. I've got my top 10 most disliked King of the Ronalds battles, so I'll finish that. It runs about 50 minutes. Really cool exploration of the very worst King of the Ronalds offerings. Really enjoyable video. Sprungy is coming up on Battle Rap Resume as well in about 2 days time, so listen out for that live episode. But yeah, JollyJay, thanks again, man.
Thanks for having me, man.